Today I'm in Broadwater Warren, which is a beautiful nature reserve run by the RSPB in Kent. And I'm here because this summer I've not done any underwater pond recording yet, and it's something that always blows my mind. It's about time that I got out and did some. So I've been gifted a new hydrophone from Aquarian Hydrophones. It's their latest model, and I bought a second one so that I could try out some stereo hydrophone recording, which is something that I have done a couple of times before with my friend Tom Fisher, who is an amazing field recordist. His artist name is Action Pyramid, and he's released a whole album of underwater pond sounds. So join me on this little adventure to the wildlife pond here at Broadwater Warren, and we'll go and see what we can hear. Usually I bring a boom pole with me so I can reach out quite far into the pond, and it's almost like fishing for sounds. It's almost like the fishing rod. However, because I now have these two hydrophones, I'd ordered some smaller, lighter weight boom poles, but they haven't arrived yet. So I thought I'd find a natural alternative, and I'm looking for some long sticks that might do the job for me. So here I found this stick, which I think might do a pretty good job. Actually, that might work. I was going to say it might work having each hydrophone off the end of that, but actually because sound travels further underwater, I've been told you actually need to place the hydrophones at about 2 meters apart. So sadly, this stick won't work for both of them, but I'm going to keep this with me and maybe find another like that, and that can be our boom pole for today. So this reserve is just so lovely. It's very quiet. You don't come across that many people. And there's just a lot of heather. There's ragwort, which is toxic to humans and many animals, but they have these caterpillars on them, which will turn into cinnabar moths. And the caterpillars just love ragwort. And it's one of those quite contentious plants because a lot of farmers remove it from their land because it is poisonous to livestock and horses. But also it's such a great plant for biodiversity in terms of certain insects. So yeah, it's one of those ones where it's tricky because there's a case for both sides, for removing it and for keeping it. So it's nice to see it here though, where it's not going to do any harm really, unless maybe someone's dog eats it, but I don't think dogs probably like the taste of ragwort, so they'll probably keep away from it. But it's nice to see all the life, all of the caterpillars, other types of butterflies, and all sorts of insects on the ragwort. In terms of trees, there's a lot of birch trees around here, and as the wind passes through, it just makes the most beautiful sound. And I really want to make a video all about that. And just as I say that, all the planes are passing overhead. It's just the classic thing. There's always planes. But I really want to make a video at some stage about the sound of breeze going through the trees, because I think it's been one of my favourite sounds this spring and summer, which I'll go into at a future date. Okay, I've just got to the pond and I can hear, with my Merlin ID app, I can hear that there's a common redstart and a Eurasian tree creeper calling right now. I think that's the redstart just doing that quite consistent woot, woot, woot. And the pond is actually very dry. I've been to this reserve a couple of times over the years, and this is definitely the lowest I've seen the water. This area is in drought at the moment, so yeah, we'll see what we can hear. There are definitely water boatmen, so we should be able to hear those. And I wonder if any of the aquatic plants will be making any sound. But I'm going to get set up and then we can have a listen. Okay, before I get set up, I actually need to find my other natural boom pole. There's something making a very strange sound underneath the boardwalk. So I'm just going to have a look in this forested area for another stick. Okay, I think I might have found my other boom pole. Let's have a look. It'll do. All right, let's go. Okay, we're back at the pond and it's time to set up and try not to drop any kits down the little gaps in the boardwalk. So I have my 2 sticks. I'm going to place them about 2 meters apart. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put my other one there. Okay, so for my kit, as per usual, I have my Mix Pre 6, which is just a really solid interface. That will be plugged in to this battery pack. It's an Anchor battery pack, and I have never had a problem with it running out when I'm doing a day of field recording, as long as I have remembered to charge it. And then I have my 2 hydrophones. These are my new hydrophones from Aquarian Hydrophones. They kindly gifted me one. I bought a second one so I could try out the stereo recording. I've previously used their H2, which is a hydrophone that I bought. I wasn't gifted it at all, and I really liked that. And I approached them and they said, hey, I'd love to try out doing stereo recording, and they said try out our new microphone. So with the A5, the microphone capsule itself is smaller. It also comes with a couple of handy things. It comes with, well, this one has a 3.5mm jack and then an adapter to turn it into an XLR output, like this, like that. And so it just means it's more adaptable to different recorders that you might have. So if one has a 3.5mm jack, you can use this, or you can use the XLR. It also comes with a very handy weight, so it will actually mean that the hydrophone will go down to the bottom of the pond bed. Finally, it also has better sensitivity and bandwidth than the H2, so I'm excited to try it out and to try it on stereo. Okay, so to attach the weight, what I essentially need to do is to thread the weight all the way through down to the microphone. So I'm going to do that now. You just have to push it through. It requires a little bit of force to get that through, and then you can just drag it down. Okay, I finally got to the end, and now I can just screw in. Now that is firmly connected. So now I have the weight on, I can attach the XLR, and that just goes like that and just clicks on. So that's super easy to do. Okay, so now with my Mix Pre 6, I'm just plugging the XLRs into the first and second input, and the hydrophones require phantom power. Now, as I turn up the gain, we'll start to see the hydrophones come to life, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. That's the left one. That's the right one. Interesting. Okay, well I'm going to put my headphones on and see what we can hear, and then I'll put it into the water. Okay, we've got both channels working now. I realised that one of the XLR, so I've got this dragonfly just about to fly in my face. I realised one of the XLR cables was not quite attached properly to the jack, so just make sure that you push it in all the way. Now, if I turn this around, you'll see I've got the first channel pan to left and the second one pan to right. Okay, so I've got my left panned hydrophone here. I'm going to dangle it off the boom pole into the pond. Well, it's a bit of a shame because there's not much sound in this pond at all, which I find surprising given I can see that there are insects on the surface of the pond, but they're not making any sound as far as I can pick up on the hydrophone. It's just the way with field recording sometimes. You can have this expectation of what you might find somewhere, and then you end up going there and you don't hear it at all. But then along the way you hear all sorts of other sounds as well. Okay, so I've gone to a different part of the pond and I put the hydrophones in, and I'm getting this light sort of bubbling sound, but it's nowhere near as noisy as I've heard ponds before. Usually you can hear the sounds of the plants photosynthesizing the tiny bubbles of air, leaving them. You can usually hear water boatmen. I've heard toads before. And this pond is very low at the moment, so I'm just wondering if that's impacting it. I don't have much time though, so I'm going to do a recording. And yeah, you can just have a listen, because there are some interesting sounds still. There's this bubbling sound, and it's just a shame that there's nothing louder, because as you'll be able to hear, it just means that there's a lot of noise. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it to record for a little bit and we'll see what we get. Alrighty, I've been recording for about 20 minutes and it's about time that I go. So I'm gonna get the hydrophones out from the pond. There were some interesting sounds, some occasional bubbles you could hear as the wind brushed through the plants as well. You could hear that move the hydrophone slightly. But yeah, just not the pond chorus that I was expecting. So I'll have to go to some other ponds soon and share some sounds with you. One cool thing though is I saw my first kingfisher just sit on a tree over there on a branch and then fly past. So that was amazing because I've always wanted to see a kingfisher. Hello. Okay, this is me from September, so it's been a few months since that first video when I went to Broadwater Warren. I was really keen not to let the lack of pond sounds get me down, and I really wanted to get some sounds recorded to test out these microphones. And so when Emma Paley, who is part of the horticultural team at the Queen's Orchard in Greenwich Park in London, reached out to let me know that they have a beautiful pond in the orchard, I decided I had to go and visit and try and get some more sounds for this video. And so in August I went to the Queen's Orchard, which is an area of approximately 0.3 hectares where they grow fruit and vegetables. And it's within Greenwich Park, which is in southeast London. When I went there, it was a lovely day. I could hear children playing in the playground nearby because it was the summer holidays. And I was just blown away by all the different fruit and vegetables. There were apples, there were some pumpkins growing in the pumpkin patch, and it's just a really beautiful, small, tucked away garden that I wouldn't have known about. I'd been to Greenwich Park before, but I just had never come across it. And so after Emma gave me a short tour of the garden, I went and recorded the pond. To begin with, I didn't hear much and I was feeling a little disappointed. I thought, oh no, I've come all this way and there's not the sound. But I listened for a bit longer and Emma pointed out that there are baby frogs. They were sort of the stage between a tadpole and a frog in the pond. And the more I looked, I could see them moving around. In my previous experience recording ponds, I've heard the sounds of tadpoles having a little munch on the microphone as I played at the start of this video. And so I just thought, okay, this could be the perfect opportunity to record some tadpoles. And so I waited, and lo and behold, eventually the tadpoles came over to the hydrophone and I could hear them having a nibble. It's so lovely to hear their sound. And this is what I heard. I also saw the tadpoles eat this little skeleton, which I think might be a frog, so potentially a little bit of cannibalism happening there. But it was a lovely opportunity to get some field recordings within a pond. And over the coming months, I'll definitely be visiting some more ponds, trying out recording in them. And if there are any that have really fantastic results, I'll definitely share them on here and make a video. So I'm looking forward to next year when the frogs and toads are out spawning again, because their croaks at around that time are just so fantastic. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed listening to some hydrophone recordings. Hopefully I'll share another video at some stage with even more pond sounds. If you like the music underneath the video, these are the instrumentals to my songs and you can listen to them on Bandcamp, my website, also streaming platforms including Apple Music and Spotify, but it's always so helpful to have your support on Bandcamp or directly through my website. I also have a mailing list on Substack, which is linked below, where I share different field recording adventures as well as updates on my music and upcoming gigs. I have some exciting announcements coming soon, so make sure you follow on there. And all the other various links. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!